Okay, so here we are. We're checking out the opening movie from Bad Mojo. I'm Phil, the producer and one of the designers.
I'm Alex Louie. I'm one of the producers.
And I'm Vinny Corella, and the director and writer of this insanity.
So what we're looking at here is the opening movie. We did this to kind of pack in all of the different story elements that we needed to get in to tell the game. And we spent a lot of time on this movie. Our whole thing, at first, remember we conceived this thing as one, we wanted to do the whole thing as one shot, and we got over that pretty quickly, and the last vestige was that we did this as the opening. The 3D part is one continuous shot.
I think the bridge here is noteworthy because we built it in Swivel 3D. I mean, Drew Huffman did a great job with this. I mean, he built it in this software that was from like 1992.
Yeah, Drew built the bridge, and Charles Rose did this sequence. He's an illustrious man now working at Phil Tippett.
One of the reasons why I think the sequence is so long, especially in the beginning, is because we conceived this opening. We wanted to have this Apocalypse Now style opening monologue that would set the tone for the game and also pack in all this information. I remember really trimming this thing down and trying to get it tighter and tighter, but it was still so long. We needed this really long, push in over the city.
Look, there's Franz the cat. There he is. He just jumped out of the way. This is a big thing, like how we did getting in from the 3D building to the live action set, and we spent a lot of time on that, trying to figure out how to do that. There's Roger Sams, played by
Michael Summers.
Yeah.
My bags were all
and
packed and ready.
This is one of the rooms. This is one of the last rooms you see in the game. This is Roger's room.
We wanted to make sure that we got in all this information you had to use later, like the cat, which is a player in the game.
Bogart the cat. It's a nice cat.
So the opening movie has a lot of meaning in terms of gameplay, because if you pay attention and you really look at all these different things, it's going to help you get through the last section of the game.
Now look at this guy. He's hilarious. Look at this. When we saw his tape, when he did his screen test, we realized he's so over the top.
We were so worried about, because the movie sizes were small, that we wanted to make sure that all the emotion read, and then you could see. I think that's why we chose him, was because his facial expressions are hilarious and so over the top.
Yeah, this is exaggerated.
Look, there's all that money. Remember, we printed up all that money. Our office manager was saying we could get in trouble because we were counterfeiting money. Here we go. What's this guy's name again?
His name is Eddie Bettito, and the character's name is Mike Gilliam. He's an old school actor who's acted with a lot of the great Jack Nicholson, and he's been around for a long time.
He was hilarious.
And he was really on the skids when we
And look at that. I love it because he just kept spitting in Michael Summers' face during this take.
I think it took a whole day to shoot this, if not 2 days, I think.
Yeah, I think it took 2 days, yeah. I mean, this is the set that we built in our offices, so this was built in a really small little area. We built this whole set to mimic, we built a lot of sets, but we built this one. This one wasn't mimicked really in 3D, but some of the other sets actually were built as 3D sets and live action sets.
I think it's funny here that he can see the money through the closed suitcase.
And then we had to get this thing, you might want to lock it.
We really worried about people missing the hints. We wanted to make sure there were hints in the opening movie.
It's pretty telegraphed, yeah.
We were so worried that the game was going to be unplayable and that people weren't going to understand what to do or how to do it, because it's pretty esoteric. It's not like a typical game.
Oh yeah, locket. The locket. We had this locket custom made by this jeweler guy, and he made it from a stopwatch?
From an old pocket watch, and we had to have it in a week, and it cost, I think, $1,600.
Something
crazy. Got a lot of help for that.
When I looked at that necklace.
We probably could have went out to Toys R Us and bought something.
No, we used the locket a lot. It's in a lot of close-up shots, and it's really cool, and it has the air of antiquity to it. It looks really neat.
This is my favorite part when he turns into the half man, half roach we call Roach. Yeah. Remember that? We shot that.
Rehearsals.
The rehearsals
Michael
are
Summers
funny.
was hysterical.
My brain really
Thanks to we had some cool special effects. Thanks to Daryl Flowers. Remember him?
I do.
Our grip, yeah. And here's a locket. That's Susan Vulcan in there. She's the the Oracle.
The interesting part here is this screen's upside down, and in the game we had to do it that way because we had to make it right side up in the game.
Yeah, we kept using this circle thing. There's circles throughout the game. Circles, circles, circles. Like the locket's a circle, his eye's a circle. We have a lot of eyes in the game, too. You're going to see all repetitive motif. This is the sewer chamber.
Love this high-resolution cockroach that we made.
Yeah.
Greg Smith made that cockroach.
Greg Smith. And now we're into the game itself. So this is a movie called Drink Up. It's a movie that you see after you drop the pill into Eddie's beer. It's a good example of going from a 3D set to one of the 2D sets that we created.
And we were really worried about the player understanding that what he does has repercussions all over the apartment building and in the room that he's in, and making sure that they understand the cause and effect relationships between objects that they step on and interact with. And here, Eddie passes out because he drinks a sleeping pill with his beer. Of course, that happens instantaneously, and thus knocking all the money in his bed.
He doesn't believe in banks,
Yeah, into the cigar, which we made sure you understood that too. And all the loose change that he keeps in the bed falls on the cigar box, thus creating a bridge for you into the next room.
The magical pill.
Yeah, I like the fact that he pulls up his blanket after passed out.
And I remember the rig that you set up, Phil, to have all that money fly out of the bed. That was hysterical.
This is a memory movie, and this is triggered when you walk on the clock over Eddie's bar. And memory movies are to kind of fill in some backstory, things that happen in the past in the game.
And all the movies in the bar are meant to fill in the blanks of Eddie's past, who is turns out to be Roger Sam's father, which is a theme that sort of goes back to that whole Joseph Campbell hero's quest, search for the father kind of deal.
We shot this thing on the Golden Gate Bridge. It was total guerrilla style. We didn't have permits. We went out there with a high-8 camera. We used a bicycle as a dolly. We took this crazy old guy out there. I'm surprised we didn't get arrested because they have people out there that are supposed to prevent people from jumping off the bridge.
Certainly nowadays you couldn't even get on the bridge and do something like this.
Yeah, somebody would scream Al-Qaeda. And this is Angelina, that's his wife, and she's telling him, hey, Eddie, don't commit suicide. I love his comb over. It's just totally flapping in the wind at that point.
And the funny thing was that he lost his own wife, Mike Gilliam, and he really was emotionally into it when he was doing this. I mean, he wasn't even himself. He was just so depressed.
Angelina. Yeah, it was a fun take. We shot that, like that little part of the bridge that sort of hangs over. That's where we shot that.
That's where a lot of people actually jump off.
Yeah. So this is the ending movie, and this particular one is the scenario in which you are being redeemed. You get turned back into a man, and this is after you've done what is it you have to do here?
I think you have to light the paper towels on fire to wake up Eddie.
Yeah, the smoke alarm goes off. And you're saving yourself and you're saving Eddie.
Because there are 3 endings, There's the everyone dies, Eddie dies, or Eddie and Roger lives.
So this is really the only win, quote-unquote win scenario in the game. And so what we're indicating here is the gas. Remember you turned off the gas on the stove because of Eddie's big chili cook-off experiment. And Roger's trying to get out of the building. He smells the gas, he grabs all of his stuff. Make sure he gets his passport, runs out of there. There's our water heater.
When the gas reaches the basement, it explodes. The building explodes.
He runs out of there. He runs out, and Eddie's already out waiting for him. We've seen him run out of the bar earlier. Kaboom!
So of course Roger is still clutching the locket, and Eddie is clutching his most valuable possession, which is the picture of his wife Angelina. And here they realize, through an incredible twist of fate, that they are, in fact, father and son.
Yeah, it's a touching moment.
Just look at the expression on Roger's face when he figures it out.
And he forgets the fact that Eddie shunted him into a horrible orphanage. Yeah, they made his life hell as a boy.
They instantly reconcile and decide to go off together to Mexico and make amends.
Just best buddies right now.
He buys him a bar.
Father?
Roger's,
Hi, Dad.
Yes, it's the ideal scenario for them. Roger's studying insects in the rainforest, and Eddie's running a tiki bar on the beach.
Yeah, who needs you as a therapy? We'll just go off and
drink our sorrows away
in Mexico. This was all done on blue screen in our basement. And I remember we struggled, like what would they do at the end? Like what would our ending be?
How do we sell the beach? You know, like we put a couple of lawn chairs up there, put them in some Hawaiian shirts, and threw some palm fronds in the background.
I think it was the last live action shot that we did.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got some Hawaiian shirts and some tiki mugs, and called it a day.
What was the code name for this?
I think we called this movie the Gilligan's Island ending.
Yeah, this is the Gilligan's Island ending, and I gotta say that this last shot is my favorite in the entire game. These two guys,
get along just
awesome.
Cheers.